The living legend himself, the godfather of Grimdark, wanted to make a paint set with us, and it is absolutely humbling.
Once we'd come up with this idea, we got in touch with John. And John quickly got back in touch with us, which was great to see. And we were all excited about doing this. And when momentum strikes, that's all you can think about. And so it accelerated. And before you know it, we're on a plane, we're going to England, we're going up the M1 to Nottingham to visit John. And then things start to snowball. I think that passion that we had about making this product means you're excited about it, means that you're always thinking about it. And we hope that shows in what we've created.
Some of the guesses were spot on.
Yeah.
And a number weren't.
Yeah.
And why give me a set of paints with no yellow in?
Right, yeah, and that's a good point. So what did we do? We made a yellow and you dropped it off and
No,
Thomas
you made
24 hours later.
different yellows for me to choose the right one for me.
One of the amazing things about developing a paint range and then talking to John is that those two things mixed. And what we have is the Fanatic paints, but made by John.
This is probably the most important, if not the first question for many of you out there, but yes, all but one color of the 20 colors in the John Blanche Masterclass series are completely new to the War Paints Fanatic and Speed Paint ranges.
Some of the paints that we made also fit in the Fanatic range, like specifically into the Triad system.
So what we have is that we have darker versions of the flexible triads we already have that then fits in, so it becomes a flexible 7 you can pick from and not a flexible 6.
Some of the feedback that we received after the initial War Paints Fanatic release is that hobbyists and painters wanted to see some darker colors in the range. And what we were able to do working with John, we noticed that the colors that he was selecting would fit perfectly with those flexible triads. So we tweaked them to make a nice natural progression. Accessibility is really important, and that's why practical naming convention and the flexible triad affiliations are going to be included on the labels of the John Blanche paints as well.
Cool. Have you got any favourite colours that we sent you? The ones that you think you go back to time and again?
Darkness.
The darkness?
Yeah,
What do you like about it?
it's dark.
These all come from the crazy minds of everybody here at the Army Painter, but especially the mastermind himself, John Blanche.
So I can use it both ends of the scale of painting. I can use it as a base colour, but I can heavily dilute it with water and have a glaze at the end.
If you've done any reading about John Blanche, there's something that comes up quite frequently, and it's called the Zorn palette.
By the what palette?
The Sawn palette.
Sawn.
The Zorn palette's become a part of the canon surrounding Blanchitsu and John's artwork, and essentially it features a black, a white, an ochre, and a bright vermilion red. And we have a really unique representation of that in this range.
Never heard of it, sorry.
And even though he doesn't necessarily identify with that palette, a huge part of the community and people that paint his style actually use it as a guide to narrow it down to his palette.
Each of the set comes with 2 colors from the Zorn limited palette. There's the Darkness, which is a deep green blue, and it's going to represent the black. There's an Ivory, which we use to represent white, and both of these colors are really good to mix to darken down or brighten your colors. And in volume 2 from the range, you're going to find Sunburst Ochre and Fiery Vermilion, which are 2 very bright, punchy, saturated colors.
So narrowing those down and having John approving of those paints, I think that will help people narrow down his palette as well. And we wanted these sets to be unique, so we didn't want to have any repeat colors from the Fanatic range. But we knew he wanted a metallic paint, and we knew he wanted a gold paint. The Emperor Gold that we ended up with is a fantastic gold color. And I'm not saying that because I made it, not just because I made it, but I think people will like it in itself, but also as the base for a very dark and deep gold color. Then I also think that we needed a dark metallic paint John agreed with it. So now we have two very unique and fantastic metallic paints going into each of those sets.
Warm Skin Shade is a bit unique because it is not unique. It's actually pulled from the original War Paints range. It was originally called Flesh Wash. We've given it a new name and a new look. But John loved the color so much, and actually so did you at home. It's actually one of the colors that we saw commented the most that people were really missing. So we're happy to say that's going to make a reappearance in the Masterclass series.
One of the other really unique colors in the set is also a wash. It's called the Grimdark Shadow. And this one can be used on almost anything. Grit down, yellow, green, blue, brown, it doesn't matter. If you pour it over, it'll just give that nice grimdark touch to work on.
It's always fun to come up with new colors, right? So being able to add colors that complement and work with our existing range was really fun. It was also really fun to come up with some of these names, inspired by John a bit, obviously. Colors like Blanched Berry and Tainted Garden and Voodoo Shade. Obviously these speak to John's history and John's unique aesthetic.
Yeah, I get a lot of people sending me mails, mainly Americans, that say, tell me how to do it. Experience, practice, just do it. And after about 10 years, you might be happy with something you do. Yeah. But I can't tell you, words won't make you a better painter.
It's no doubt that the performance and quality of our Speed Paint and Fanatic releases, and even our War Paints Air range, have opened up new doors for the Army painter to work with artists and miniature painters of very high calibers. But that doesn't mean that we still don't have our core customers in mind when we're developing them. They still use that same Fanatic formulation that is easy to use for beginners, but has all of the performance benefits for even the most elite painters in the world.
If you class yourself as a novice painter, what you have here is a set of colours that you can really explore what it is your style could be. And I think John mentions the best way to be a good painter is to practice. And equally, if you're an experienced painter, then you probably know about John and John's artwork and John's miniatures. And so this gives you a chance to see if you can replicate it. And I think what I'd love to see is how many people can do a John Blanche-esque miniature and their take on it with these colours. I think that's one of the most exciting things I'm looking forward to.
There are countless reasons why you're going to want to buy one or both of these sets from the John Blanche Masterclass series. If you're a John Blanche fanatic yourself, then it's a must-have. It's a no-brainer. The artwork inside the set and that appears on the labels, the colors themselves were selected by the legend himself. Now, if you're just a painter and a fan of the Fanatic and Speed Paint ranges, you're going to want to get this set because the colors are great to add to your collection and they're designed to work really well with the existing Fanatic and Speed Paint ranges.
John told us that these are the best paints he's worked with ever. I think it speaks volumes of what we can do with our paints here at Army Paint, that John chose to work with us for his two legacy paint sets.
Over the last couple of years, you've seen us launch the new Speed Paint range. You've seen us launch the new War Paints Fanatic range. It proves that we can reach the quality that we so desire in the products we create. I think what this shows that we can do with John is take it that little step further, that little bit of personalisation. Can we do something that's based around somebody else's style and vision? And I think we can. And if you think so as well, I've got a funny feeling we might be making more of these.
Honestly, it's still a little bit mind-blowing and would be completely mind-blowing had I not seen the hard work and the talent that went into developing a range of products that now appeals to some of the best painters and artists in the world.
And John, being one of those top guys that now uses our paints, it's pretty awesome if you ask me.